Hey everyone, Diamond Ambassador Megan Milakovic here, and today I want to talk to you guys about burnout. And I'm probably going to ruffle a few feathers, but I'm totally okay with that because I know that it is going to help you in the long run. So, first, let's define burnout and call it what it really is. Burnout is simply missed expectations. Think about a time in your life, a time in your business when you experienced what we call burnout. Chances are you had a certain expectation of how things were going to go, and you didn't meet those expectations, or the business opportunity didn't meet those certain expectations. Whatever that looked like for you, every time we feel burnout, it is simply missed expectations. So, my husband likes to say there actually is no such thing as burnout. It's just a manifestation of you not reaching those certain expectations or goals that you had for yourself. Okay. And what happens when we label things, when we label it as burnout, when we label things like this, it kind of gives us an out. It lets us off the hook, and nobody's going to judge you for not doing the work that you know you need to do because you're experiencing burnout, right? Everyone has felt it, everyone has experienced it. And so it's like you're letting yourself off the hook of like, I'm just in a hard time. I'm experiencing a hard time. So I'm not gonna do the things. Everyone's like, oh, that makes sense. She's having burnout. Okay, but no, we're not gonna let ourselves off the hook. We're gonna assess what it truly is, and then we're gonna talk about how to avoid having burnout in the future. Okay. So one of the best ways to avoid this is to have realistic expectations. Okay. I'm gonna give you just some personal examples and then some examples just that I have seen in my time in this business for the last 5 years. Okay. So for me, I thought that after I hit Emerald, I would feel different. Okay. I had a certain expectation that once I hit Emerald, everything was going to change. Well, I'm here to let you know everything was exactly the same. The only thing that was different is that my paycheck was higher. So I hit massive burnout after I hit Emerald because I thought all these things were going to change and they didn't. Or maybe for you, you're like me and you had a certain expectation that you were never going to be a working mom. You were always going to be a stay-at-home mom and you weren't going to have a job. So now here you have this job and then it's not meeting these certain expectations. So bam, now you've hit this burnout because of that. Okay. So here's another example, right? After I hit Diamond, I had this certain expectation that my husband was going to quit his job right away, right? The goal was to hit Diamond and he was going to quit his job. Well, that didn't happen right as soon as we hit Diamond. We laid up a plan afterwards of just some different things that we wanted to do and accomplish and still have him in his job. But for me, I experienced burnout because I was like, well, I worked so hard to make this happen. And because it didn't happen within my exact timeline that I had expected, I started to hit burnout. And so while certain things will happen for us, sometimes they're not always in our timeline, meaning they're not reaching our expectations. And so therefore we are hitting burnout. Okay. Here is another one. I've seen people one time, Plexus was running this weight loss challenge, okay? And they had these massive prizes. Well, I have a friend who, I mean, she lost a ton of weight. She worked so hard and she had these expectations that she was going to be one of the finalists. And you know what? She wasn't one of the finalists and she didn't win the grand prize. Well, she lost all this weight. She felt amazing. She inspired hundreds of people with her story, but she experienced burnout because she didn't meet her expectations. She thought she was going to win one of these prizes and she didn't. But you guys, that's not the goal. The goal is not to be these certain things. The goal is to get healthy. The goal is to lose weight. The goal is to be the best version of ourselves, right? Same thing in our businesses. I've seen so many people, Silver Stars is an amazing prize, amazing, amazing prize. I've seen so many people go for this goal and they run after it and they develop all these silvers, which is amazing. But when they don't earn the trip, they hit burnout. They experience burnout because it was missed expectations instead of celebrating all of the silvers that they developed. Because you guys, the goal is sustainable growth in our business. The goal is a legacy business, sustainable growth. Silver Stars is just nice icing on the cake. Same thing with Emeralds. Emeralds is not the goal. The trip to Hawaii is not the goal, but I see so many people hit it once, they experience the trip, and then they don't hit it again because that was the only goal, right? But that's not the goal, you guys. Growth is the goal because we will miss celebrating so many things along the way, especially if our expectations are not being met over here. You miss celebrating all of the things that happened over here. You miss celebrating the amazing things that happened, the growth that happened because you weren't focusing on the growth. We get into a lot of trouble in this business when the prizes become the goal. The prizes are not the goal. The prizes are nice icing on the cake, but that is not the reason that we are doing all of this work, you guys, okay? So I just wanted to share with you some of those examples so you can kind of understand, and maybe some things are coming to light in your life about different expectations that you've had with this business. When those expectations weren't met, chances are that's when you experience this burnout, okay? And so with that, we just want to make sure that we are having that growth mindset over the goal mindset. It makes the biggest difference in the way that we show up and the way that we celebrate. Here's another thing that I see often in this business, and part of the reason why people experience burnout, okay? I see people running guns blazing at this business, and then they are doing everything by themselves. They're growing a team, they're doing all stuff, but they are literally doing everything by themselves. They are running this massive organization by themselves. And what they are telling themselves is, no one wants to do this with me. Right? Well, really, that is just a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if you just keep telling yourself, no one's doing this with me, I can't keep doing this by myself, this is too hard, this is exhausting, blah, 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 blah. If you have those expectations of saying, like, no one wants to do this with me, right? Well, then you're going to treat people differently, and they're not going to want to do it with you. Maybe because of the sour attitude that you're having about how frustrating, how difficult all these different kinds of things is. If you, a lot of times when we have spouses that are not on board, it's because of, look at the way that you are sharing with them about Plexus. It's like, oh, this is so hard. This is so difficult. Nobody wants to do this with me, blah, blah, blah. Well, they're just trying to protect you because they're like, she seems miserable while she's doing it. So if you readjust those expectations of this, even your expectation of what people are willing to do and not willing to do, right? We have an expectation in this business that every single person who joins our team, they want to make extra money. We have that expectation. And so when you come into it with that expectation, it doesn't mean that everyone does it. It just means everyone wants to do it, but they're scared, right? So my goal is, how do I help them overcome their own objections and to get out of their own way? So I'm not going into it with saying, oh, well, nobody wants to do this with me. I'm saying everyone wants to do this with me. What are they scared of, and how do I overcome them? Okay. So instead of you saying, you can flip the script on yourself, right? And I think the reason why we've been able to have a lot of sustainable success is that instead of saying, okay, well, why does no one want to do this with me, right? If you can switch it to, well, why am I not selling the opportunity enough to them? Or why am I not able to overcome their objections? What skill set do I need to work on and learn to help draw this out of them, right? You either, most of the time when we're sitting there saying, well, why does nobody want to do this with me, blah, 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 you want to sit in the pool. You want to sit in the pool there. You don't want to find a solution. Well, I'm going to tell you, leaders who go to the top, they are solution-oriented leaders, and they want to find that solution, right? I'm not looking for a runner. I am looking to develop the next silver. And as I develop that next silver, I'm going to find a runner. So here's how you can kind of switch this in your head with the whole expectations, right? With the missed expectations. You can ask yourself, when you miss a goal, or you miss an expectation, or something's not the way that you thought it was going to be, re-examine your expectations and readjust them. That's, evaluation is huge and is key in this business. My husband and I talk about evaluating all the time. We have certain questions that we ask, but here with the expectations, you can ask, okay, what were the expectations? Why did I miss them, or why did I miss this goal? And what do I need to do differently next time? Right? You got to ask yourselves those questions. After my husband and I do calls, trainings, all this different kind of stuff, after I get off this video, I will look at what went well, what didn't go well, what did I learn, what can I improve on next time? And you want to ask yourselves those questions because you always want to be learning and growing. So to help you guys bring this kind of full circle with the burnout, I want you to ask yourself, What sort of expectations do you have in this business? Did you think you were going to be able to just fit it in the nooks and crannies and get all the way to the top? I mean, that works for a little while, but then eventually you're growing a massive organization. You have to dedicate some more time to it. Do you feel like you're not getting paid as much as the work that you're putting in? Here's a fun little fact about network marketing. It kind of goes in 3 levels. There's one level where you're putting in more work and more effort than what you're getting paid. Somewhere in the middle, it kind of equals out. You're getting paid with the amount of effort you're putting in. And then you get to the top, you guys, and you are way overpaid for the amount of effort that you are putting in. But most people will not stick it out through the course because it didn't meet their expectations, so they got burnout. Look at different people in your business who have ever dropped off, right? Chances are they had a missed expectation. This didn't meet what it looked like, whether that was expectations that we set or ones that they came in with themselves. But you want to constantly be evaluating, and then you can look at those expectations, and if you have to adjust those expectations, that's okay. So the next time that you are just feeling like you can't do anything else, you're super burnt out, I want you to look, what expectation is not being missed? How can I adjust this expectation? Why didn't I hit it? And what can I do differently next time? Because remember, friends, there is no such thing as burnout. It is simply missed expectations.